What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first episode here. Don't really have a name for this. The possible name could be behind the brand, but my name is Miller McCoy. I'm recording in the Limitless showroom right now up here in Encino, California, neighborhood of the Los Angeles area. Once again, I'm Miller McCoy, CEO of Limitless Manufacturing Group. We're a branding incubator for the 21st century celebrity, talent, and IP. We help build brands and monetize talent through creating lifestyle and product-centric brands with utilizing our global supply chain distribution networks and our expertise in product development, fulfillment and logistics, customer service, product photography, content creation, branding and marketing. You name it, we do it here at Limitless. So my background in the fashion industry, I think I deserve kind of to give a little introduction here for everybody. I originally got into the fashion industry around the age of 15, roughly 10 years ago here. I built my first brand called Human, and I'm originally from Des Moines, Iowa. Where I was starting the brand, there was really no following. There was no scene for anything like this. It was really all just kind of run and gun, figure it out yourselves, right? Yes, there was Instagram and YouTube, and I was following some of that sort of scene, the 10-year ago scene or so. And I was just learning, right? I was just figuring things out. And through that, I began to build quite a following. And I took it out here to the Los Angeles area. And while out in the Los Angeles area, I began styling a lot of musicians. And through that, I began cultivating a lot of really deep relationships with a lot of these kind of crews, posses, and musicians. Building a big roster and repertoire or Rolodex, for a lack of a better term, with a lot of these crews, a lot of these people and talent. And shortly after styling a handful of them, they all kind of started looking at us and saying, "Hey, man, can you go ahead and just start making our clothes? We know you're styling us in your clothes. We love them, right? All that sort of stuff. Can you just make our clothes for us?" And that's kind of how the Limitless itself started. I was doing it alongside of a guy named Steven Mangini. He can't be with us tonight, but I'm sure on some episodes he will be. And then shortly thereafter, a fellow Iowan named Brett Schweers also came along. And ever since then, for the last 4 to 5 years or so, we've just been building a Limitless to really be this brand incubator and accelerator for a lot of this talent and IP that are just in our networks. Over the last few months, we're into February here. I'm not going to lie to you guys. We got all this podcast equipment. What was it? Probably 4 or so, maybe even 5 months ago. And our goal was to kind of come out with this podcast and do a whole lot of kind of just this, right? Talking to our audience, building segments, creating meaningful conversations in the business of fashion and entertainment industries, right? And interviewing really unique business, fashion, and entertainment folks, right? And throughout this time, it's been a lot of talks. It's been a lot of, let's figure it out. Let's make a name. Let's make the channel. Let's do all this, right? Well, who's our first podcast going to be with? What's the first episode going to be? What questions do we have? All of this sort of stuff. We've been doing everything about the podcast, but we haven't been doing the podcast. So that's what's kind of driven me to just kind of start. Right? You got to start somewhere. This isn't going to be perfect. This isn't going to be beautiful. It's just me today. I didn't really even care to clean up the space around here. This is my first time using any of this sort of equipment, so pardon for any technical difficulties or anything like that. And I'm just filming off my phone. We've got a nice camera that we could be using, but I don't really know how to set it all up. So I'm just making work with what I've got, right? And over these last couple months here, 2025, it's been a eventful year so far, right? Went into the year with very big ambitions, not just for my personal well-being and my personal health, but also for the business. And additionally, at the start of the year, we had a ton of travel. So it's kind of made it a little difficult to really kick into that gear. But I found myself bouncing from one location to the next and having that week where I can really lock in, but then I have to get thrown into a different direction because I'm going somewhere, traveling somewhere, have to do something else, right? Whatever it may be. And just to kind of name a few, I was blessed and grateful and lucky enough to go down to Peru, South America. I was able to go there with my girlfriend, and we had a phenomenal, it was only 8 days, but man, it was the coolest place I think I've ever traveled to. And I've done a lot of travel in my life, right? I've been all over Europe. I've been Central America, Mexico, Canada, all over the States. But Peru was something else. That was a beautiful place. We did sand dune surfing and went to the jungle, and we hung out in Lima. And Lima's it's like a tropical New York City or almost like a Miami sort of situation. It was incredible. Amazing food, amazing hospitality. Everything there was above kind of what I really thought it would be. Additionally, while we were there, we were able to go see the Nazca lines and see Machu Picchu. Not Machu Picchu being one of the great wonders of the world, and hell, Nazca line should be right up there with it. It was an incredible thing, but I will say the Nazca line thing is not something for the faint of heart or the weak stomach, actually. And I, if any of you guys know me that are listening to this or know my story or anything about me, I've got some stomach issues that I dealt with in the past. And so nowadays I just kind of have a little bit of a weak stomach. I can get queasy, and they put you in this little bipop plane, right? 2 propeller plane. And you go up into the air, and it's super choppy. It's over a deserty area that's all surrounded by mountains. The wind is wild, or there's no wind at times as well. I think that's actually it. There's no wind at all, kind of in the area. And so the plane is just crazy choppy, and they're throwing you left and throwing you to the right, and it's, you're bumping like crazy. And I think we got to the third of maybe 20 some odd lines that we were seeing, and I go absolutely flush, and I have to pull out that little puke bag and start getting sick. And then from there, we had a 6-hour drive back to our next destination, or something crazy like that. So it was a wild experience nonetheless. Super grateful and thankful to have gone to Peru. And that was the first real vacation I had taken in quite some time. Most of the times that we're traveling, it's always work related and business related. And sure, maybe on social medias we make it look glorious and glamorous, but it's really not, right? It's work at the end of the day, and that's what we're doing. But then aside from Peru, we were also in Arizona for waste management. And that was an amazing time. Got to hang out there for a weekend or 3 or 4 days or so. And while we were actually at waste management, this was only my second time going to waste management, but we were able to make it to hole 16, which, for those that don't know, waste management is a massive golf tournament that has energy that can only be described if you're there. It's the exact opposite of what you think a golf tournament or event would be like. It's a party. It's just a rowdy crew, a riot house there. And hole 16 is kind of the infamous, nefarious, it's the party hole. Everybody, people will line up, show up at 5 a.m., the gates open, and it's just a dead sprint to get over to hole 16 and secure some seats. Now, this year, we had found kind of a side entrance that you could get in, because I wasn't going to be one of the people in that 5 a.m. crowd rushing in to get there. I don't care about golf that much, to be fully honest. And so we found a little side entrance to get in. We got in through there, and while we were actually there, we were able to witness, which one, being at hole 16 during waste management is a blessing alone. And then on top of that, we got to see the only hole-in-one that was throughout the whole entire tournament there at hole 16, which was absolutely phenomenal. And hole 16 on the course, too, is also like one of the more realistic holes for if a hole-in-one would happen, it would likely be at hole 16. And we were able to see it there in person and get to see the reaction from everybody. I might be able to throw up a clip of it. And anyway, it was just a phenomenal sort of thing. then right after Arizona, we went straight to Las Vegas. And in Las Vegas, we were at a industry event called Magic. Now it's not magic like card tricks and stuff like that, right? It's I don't know exactly what it stands for, but it's basically men's apparel and garments. And there's a lot of manufacturers there. There's a ton of brands there. There's a whole lot of just it's all fashion, right? Retail stores, buyers, sellers, brand curators, manufacturers, sourcing agents, the whole nine. They're all there. And we went there to go find some new suppliers to work with. We went there to meet with a bunch of our current suppliers and sourcers and manufacturers and stuff like that, as well as we had a whole handful of kind of industry friends that were all there that we got to catch up with and, talk shop, if you will. And that was a great time. I think we were only there for 2 days or so. So it was a quick trip, but coming off the tail end of the Arizona thing, 2 days was enough for me. Vegas is a wild place. And speaking of Vegas too, while we were there, one night we did gamble for, maybe an hour or so. Gambling's not really a big thing of mine. But I think I took $50 or whatever, sat at a blackjack table. I was sitting there with Brett and, we were mid-hand and the auto dealer, the shuffler, broke. Like it just went out on us. And it felt a little weird that it did that. And so they picked up everybody's hands and kind of just canceled the round, but they had already dealt the cards for us, right? And so, I don't know, felt a little shady. Then shortly after that, I'm playing at another table and Steve's over my shoulder watching. And I'm putting one of my chips on. I was playing a version of blackjack where if you got 22 exactly and you put there was like kind of a side bet that you could make where if you busted on 22 exactly, it was like 1 to 16 or 1 to 12 odds or something like that. I made my deal. I was literally moving a chip to the 22 bust thing. And they dealt the cards before I could even put the chip down. And they saw I was putting it there. Regardless, I busted on 22, lost my money, called it a night, chalked it up, went to the room. And that was about it for Vegas. On top of this, we've also been down to Long Beach for the Impressions Expo. That was a great expo. Again, a little similar to Magic, except for way less on the brands. And it's way more focused on the manufacturing industry as a whole, right? There's companies there like M&R, Rock, Kornit, Epson, right? Tons and tons of blank garment companies. And they're there showing their new styles, showing off the new machinery, what's hot in the industry, what you should look for, if you're a shop, what new machines or screens or equipment you should purchase, right? And so we had a lot of manufacturing partners that were there. One of our new shops that were opening up in Vegas, there was 2 machines on the floor that, gotta say the name on it and everything like that. They were both M&R 18 head challengers with the digital squeegee. Incredible machines, a double layered conveyor belt, dryer. So phenomenal stuff there. So that's been, there's been a lot of travel and a lot of just moving around for these first 2 months or so of 2025. But all of March, none of us have any travel planned. April, same thing. No real travel planned, but I do have a Spartan race on my radar. And then in May, we are looking at, I think it's May, we're looking at going to the Canton Fair in China, which could be an incredible experience. I've never been to China, but this year we've had a few of our Chinese supplier teams actually come out to the showroom here that you see us in to come check things out, meet with us in person. And then we also got to meet with a bunch of them while we were in Vegas for Magic. So it's been a wild year so far. Today alone, we closed 3 very large accounts. A super big golf brand that we're so excited to work with, a phenomenal gospel singer that we're really stoked to be behind building the brand for him. It's going to be his first sort of product and merchandise sort of release that he's ever done. And then the third one is an incredible one. It's a custom car company. So they basically take cars and fully customize them. They do it for people like Mark Zuckerberg, Travis Scott, a whole bunch of stuff like that. And then additionally this week, we announced Dave Bluntz's tour. We also, Mike Stud, formerly known as Mike Stud, now just Mike, announced his tour. So, we've got a lot on the docket. We're working with Samara Sin right now to gear up her tour release as well. She's touring with Smino, which is going to be super exciting. And then I think Bronson's going to have some touring going on. And one of our guys that we work with, Matt Corman, I think he's on his kind of last couple of shows right now. He just had a show tonight in Tampa. It looked awesome. So he just finished that up. And it's just been a heck of a year so far. We're super excited. And all of these sort of ventures that we've done over these last 2 months have really sparked some creativity inside of me. I think so. I've got one collection for my own personal brand, Human, that I've kind of put together already this year. That's going to be coming out around the back to school time, probably around that August, September. But I think the collection that I'm going to do that follows that, maybe around a winter time, is going to be based off my travels in Peru. Going to do some alpacas, some vicuña, some llama materials, a lot of, mountains and nature and just kind of, what's the right word? Is it like esoteric history, sort of ancient alien almost type stuff. And it's kind of cool and unique, the brand, Human, and falling into the kind of that alien world is going to be super interesting. But anyway, some just kind of housekeeping and some updates that we've got going on here at Limitless is we're rolling out an A&R program that we're super excited about, working with some big music industry executives and some people that are just very amassed in the culture of fashion, entertainment, music, arts, and have very large networks. Bringing them on to be A&Rs here at Limitless, to be able to basically act as the liaison between the talent and between Limitless. Get them through our door, show them what we can do. They can see the value that we can provide to them. And on top of that, we also built this sort of a monetization calculator that I don't think has really been done before, but it allows us to basically estimate and have probably a very good estimate on the amount of revenue and profit that we're able to generate for a prospect. We take their total followers, we break it down to their active followers, we break it down to their average purchase price. From there, we break their active followers further down into being the amount that will actually convert. And then from there, we do some math and we get the total numbers to show them their total revenue, total profit margin, total profit. And so I think doing a combination of this sort of A&R program, utilizing some tools like the monetization calculator. Additionally, we're working on our own in-house software and dashboard that's going to kind of break the industry. I haven't seen anything like this at all. And it's kind of on its final phases right now. Until we have version 1 ready to go. Additionally, we've kind of, on the production side of things, we've expanded now. We've got access to over 1.5 million square feet of production space across America, Mexico, and China, which is a huge number, right? A massive amount of square feet that we've got production access to. And we've just been fostering and building really healthy relationships with all of these sort of people and being able to get solid pricing, solid service, and just making sure that the factories that we're working with are taking us as serious as we're taking this, right? The growth has been remarkable. Additionally, I don't think I mentioned this. We were also in Miami, like last week or something like that. Yeah, we were in Miami. And that was my first time in Miami, believe it or not. Miami's like a tropical New York, just a little bit more showy, if you will. That was an amazing place. I've never been to a place like that. I don't think it's the closest I'd say would be Lima in Peru, but Lima's less showy, right? But Miami was insane. That was a really cool place. We were meeting with some fellow business partners as well, and just hearing out some other cool ventures that Limitless can kind of segue into. So that was phenomenal. But yeah, Limitless has been having some rapid growth. We've got really ambitious goals for this year. For the last 4 years, Limitless has had over 100% growth year over year over year over year. And we're aiming for that again this year. We're kind of at that pivotal point in business where it's really difficult. And we're doing larger and larger and larger numbers, working with bigger and bigger people. But because we're also working with bigger and bigger people, it's hard for us to also, we want to make sure that we can be providing the best service possible to all of the clients that we're working with, right? We don't want to take on 25, 30 new clients and provide 20% of work to each one of them, right? We want to make sure that everybody that we bring on, we're providing 100% work. And so we just have to be very strategic about the actual partnerships that we're taking on and the contracted clients that we're signing to Limitless. But I think that we're able to navigate the grounds properly, and accordingly, we could have phenomenal growth and success again this year. We just brought on a full in-house production manager. We're expanding our design team. We're looking at bringing on these A&Rs. We're thinking about bringing on a couple more brand managers as well. So it's just going to be phenomenal. Additionally, we're looking at hiring a email and SMS kind of outreach marketing team that's primarily through the B2B facet. Last year, we did some of our first sort of B2B jobs, and they went spectacular. That was super good work, super good business. But then on top of kind of all this business stuff that's going on, there's also the personal side, right? And I've got a lot of ambitious goals for this year, right? Right now, I'm currently doing a 75 hard. I think I'm about a week in right now. Today went and ran 6 miles and hit back day. Been hammering, drinking a bunch of water. Right now I'm reading a book by Simon Sinek, Leaders Eat Last. Phenomenal book, phenomenal human. Simon has great teachings that are not, I think a lot of the teachings that are being shown around and make the social media buzz and do all that stuff, I think a lot of them are either 1, false, 2, predatory, and 3, not realistic. But Simon, he is very realist. Everything he's kind of talking about is realistic and is possible. Is it the easiest? No, right? But this sort of stuff isn't easy. And if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Additionally, I've got an ultra marathon coming up that I think I'm on the books already for. I'm doing it in October. It's October or September. The All Day Running Fest by Jesse Itzler. That's going to be such a cool event. It's a mile-long loop. Inside of the loop, there's a stage, there's ice baths, there's saunas, it's just a super big health and wellness festival almost. And throughout that track, they shoot a gun, and there's no, once they shoot the gun, you run, right? Or you can walk, or you can crawl, or you can roll, or you can skip, or you can jump, whatever it is, right? But as long as you're on that track, you're going, right? And you have 8 hours to just go as long and as far as you can, right? And everybody on the inside is cheering for you. And I think every quarter of a mile or every half mile, there's an aid station. So it's a really toned down ultra marathon. It's not a race, right? It's an endurance challenge. And that's really what I'm into. I'm not fast at all, right? There's tons of people way faster than me. And so I'm looking for something that'll just push the boundaries. And I'm going out there this year with my dad. I think my dad's going to do the first 5K with me, and I'm going to try to convince him to also do, when I look at him and say, okay, I'm on my kind of last set here, do the last 5K with me. So I'm really excited and looking forward to that. Might as well see if I can get my brothers or my girlfriend or something to come out there with me too and take part as well. Additionally, I want to do one probably over the summer, do more of a trail style ultra marathon, something that is a little bit more traditional. But we'll see if I get to there. Additionally, my goal this year is to really evolve and drive more into the leadership role. I've always been a leader. When my pops was dropping me off at school in the mornings, when he had the opportunities to, the last things he would always say to me was, be a leader. Or quite frankly, he'd look at me and say, get out of the car. He'd just start making a big scene. He'd roll all the windows down, go right up in the car lot in front of all the other people, and just start screaming at me to get out of the car, just playing jokes, We're having a regular conversation. He'll just break that out. Everybody starts looking over at me like I've done something wrong. The one thing that he used to always say to me as a kid that sticks with me to this day is be a leader. And so I just want to continuously embody that role of being a leader, especially as we're expanding and growing our team. And I think a lot of leadership also, you have to look inward, right? If you're not disciplined in your daily life and the way that you go about life, it's not going to translate the same to your work, right? And so all of it kind of combines into one thing. I'm trying to better myself physically, but trying to better myself mentally. Last summer, I really got involved and dove headfirst into running. I ran every weekend. Every week I was averaging 40 plus miles. I was doing big trail runs over the weekends. Some runs I'd do, 20, 25 plus miles. And so just really want to continue that sort of cycle. I really enjoy that, right? Running is kind of one of those things for me where I don't have to, all I got to focus on is putting the next step forward, right? And when I'm doing it out in the mountains, it's super hard to get a hold of me, right? Sometimes I don't have service. There's a lot of times where during the week or even the weekends during the day, just my phone is just kind of nonstop buzzing. Always getting calls, always getting texts, emails, whatever it may be. And that's a blessing, right? I'm not saying that that's a bad thing because this is what I've asked for, right? This is the life I've chosen. And it's a huge blessing. But those runs are where I can kind of detach for a little bit and really focus on myself, go through a lot of the thoughts that I have as a man and as an individual, how I can better myself, how I can better those around me, how I can better the business, right? That's really where I get that thinking time. So I think that kind of sums it up for today. A few big takeaways from this sort of talk, I guess, are, I want to do more of this. I enjoy this. I'm just sitting here talking and rambling for 30 minutes, but I think some of the things that I'm sharing are good for me to reflect on. I think it's good for people to hear, right? Business is going well. My health and personal life is going well. And there's a lot of times in our lives in business where they won't be going well. And having that transparency of being able to share that, I appreciate that and don't take this for granted, right? We live in a beautiful world, a phenomenal world where I'm so blessed and lucky to be able to do things like I'm doing today. So that's it. But I invite you guys to join me on the journey here. I'm going to be doing more of this. Hopefully I can do this once a week or so. I think that'd be really great. But that's it. Have a great day. Have a great night. Whenever you listen to this, keep being you. Keep being awesome. And if you're trying to scale and grow your brand, let me know.